Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the TD Power Systems Limited earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Ms. Lata Kabra of CDR India. Thank you, and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us on Q1 FY22 earnings conference call of TD Power Systems Limited. We have with us Mr. Nikhil Kumar, Managing Director, Mrs. M. N. Varalakshmi, Chief Financial Officer, and some of their colleagues in the management team on this call. We will begin the call with brief opening remarks from the management, following which we will have the forum open for an interactive Q&A session. Before we begin, I would like to mention that some of the statements made in today's call may be forward-looking in nature and may involve risk and uncertainties. Documents related to the company's financial performance have already been emailed to all of you early. I would now like to invite Mr. Nikhil Kumar to make his opening remarks. Thank you, and over to you, Nikhil.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today on our earnings call. I trust all of you would have received our results and investor presentation. Now I'd like to discuss with you TDPS's financial performance for the quarter ended 30th June 2021. Before starting the discussion on the performance of the company, I would like to mention to all our investors that we have worked right through the devastating second wave of COVID-19 thanks to the special permission that we obtained based on our production for the defense sector and also production for the pharmaceutical sector. The management team has worked extremely hard to ensure all deliveries to all our customers all over the world, and I'm proud to say that we did not miss a single deadline. Now moving on to the financial results. Our total income on a standalone basis for Q1 was 1.28 billion rupees versus 0.72 billion rupees this for the same period the previous year. Profit after tax and comprehensive income for the quarter is 68 million versus a loss of 96 million in the same period in the previous year. Manufacturing revenues for Q1 is 1.25 billion rupees versus 0.67 billion rupees. Manufacturing order book, including Turkey operations, is 10.53 billion, out of which 3.4 billion is a generator manufacturing business, 6.47 billion is railway business, and 0.62 billion is a Turkey business. Export and deemed exports, excluding our large traction order, is 66%. Order inflow statistics. First quarter order inflow is as follows. Total order book for the first quarter is 1.32 billion versus 0.99 billion from the previous year. Order inflow from direct and deemed exports is 0.81 billion versus 0.56 billion in the previous year. Project business revenue in Q1 is rupees 15 million versus 9 million same period last year. Our total order book for the projects business stands at 256 million rupees. On a consolidated basis, our total income is 1.67 billion versus 0.76 billion the same period last year. Profit after tax and other comprehensive income for the first quarter is rupees 97 million versus a loss of rupees 98 million for the first quarter of last year. Our consolidated order book, as mentioned earlier, is 10.78 billion rupees. We continue to maintain a strong cash position of 1.8 billion rupees. Now, moving on to the market situation, order book and guidance. We are very pleased to announce a significant upward guidance in our top line. We now expect our manufacturing sales to be in the region of 6.5 to 6.6 billion INR for TDPS India compared to 4.8 billion achieved last year. We are seeing very strong demand from export markets as well as a very significant pickup of order booking and sales in the domestic market. In the overseas market, we are seeing huge increase in the gas engine segment as well as in the steam turbine segment. The hydro market has also picked up, and we're seeing a big uptick in the executable orders for this financial year. We are now reaching that stage of the year when the majority of the fresh order booking will go into next year's execution. In this regard, we are continuing to see extremely strong order inflows from all segments of our business, including exports, which is a really good sign that we will grow our generator sales next year from the level that we have projected this year. Domestic market is also picking up in all sectors: cement, steel, sugar cogeneration, distilleries, waste heat recovery, and garbage burning plants. There's a lot of momentum in the market, and I think we are finally seeing a strong revival of the long-awaited capex cycles. At this moment, we are very excited and very positive about the sales growth for FY23. Last time we talked about new products. I'm very happy to announce that we have secured an order for large synchronous motors for about 180 million INR. This order will be executed in the next financial year. This is a large market, and currently we're addressing a market size of about 2 billion INR per year, and we hope to get a decent market share from this segment in the future. We're also very active in more new product segments, and we'll announce our results as and when we achieve success in the market. Our business development is headed by one Mr. Kaushik Swapnil. He was a former MD of WEG India, and he is moving TDPS into new segments, bringing his rich 35 years of experience in electrical rotating machines. We are getting more and more orders from our new engine customer in Germany, and this relationship is moving slowly but surely and steadily forward. This business remains on track to deliver the expected volumes in the next 1 or 2 years. The railway business with Indian Railways is also on track. We will deliver the first prototype units in the next 2 months, and then we're expecting full approval for business in the second half of next year. After getting the full approval, we expect to grow this business substantially. The railway business with Alstom is at full yearly volume. We are waiting for news about the expansion of the current order quantity as well as new segments where we have bid with them. This business also will grow substantially over the next years. TDPS Turkey. This year TDPS Turkey will have a top line of about 9 million euros and around 10% profit before tax. Unfortunately, the new incentive scheme announced by the government of Turkey does not make local manufacturing in Turkey attractive. We are seeing a lot of new orders from this market being diverted to TDPS India. While TDPS does not lose overall, the next year outlook for TDPS Turkey does not look so positive. If required, we will downsize the operation and make sure we do not have any losses. Guidance for this financial year, FY22. Manufacturing business for India, as mentioned earlier, top line is about 6.5 to 6.6 billion INR. Now I need to talk a little bit about the margin expectations and the impact of raw material prices on the profits of the company. Last time we had talked about negotiations with our long-term customers, both in India and outside India. Our goal was to preserve the long-term relationship with our customers, not lose market share, but ultimately pass on the full cost increases to the market. In this process, the most difficult part of our discussions was about orders that our customers had taken or about to take with prices that we had in place last year and early this year before the massive increases of raw material prices took place. We took the hard decision to absorb some cost increases in a few cases and share the cost increases in many cases. These two categories constituted a negotiated and fixed number of machines, and after this predetermined number of machines, we have agreed for a full price increase for all new orders. This will have an impact on Q2 to some extent, and Q3 to a larger extent, and again Q4 to a smaller extent. From Q4, we will start seeing the full price increases that we have finalized with the customers, and we will see a full pass-through of these price increases next year. For this FY financial year, the impact on TDPS is in the region of 220 million to 240 million, which will bring the gross contribution to about 27.5 to 28% for this year. We are trying very hard to increase the aftermarket business for the remaining part of this year to see if we can improve the gross contribution by another 1%. But as mentioned earlier, this is a short-term effect, and we will definitely return to the normal gross margin profile of the company of around 32% next year. This hard decision was taken to preserve the long-term relationships with our customers. The major cost sharing has been done with Indian OEM customers and to a lesser extent with international customers. Despite this, we still expect to have the same level of profits as last year on a consolidated basis because of significant increases in the top line. As mentioned earlier, and I would like to repeat, the impact of the higher sales prices will positively affect the margins from Q4 onwards, Q4 this year onwards, and from Q1 FY23 fully. And I'll repeat once again, we will increase the gross contribution of next year's business to at least 32%. TDPS Turkey will deliver a top line of 0.8 billion rupees, and the total manufacturing business top line will be between 7.4 to 7.5 billion rupees. Project business will deliver a top line of 0.25 billion. All other subsidiaries will be profitable. This brings me to the end of my initial remarks. I'll now be happy to address questions and queries that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Himanshu Upadhyay from PGIM Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good morning. Congratulations on a great set of results and also on a very strong commentary. It seems there is buoyancy all across. Can you elaborate slightly more? So when we are seeing buoyancy, is it only in the power plants or thermal power plants, or you are also seeing buoyancy in something like waste heat recovery and let's say the locomotives and railways, gas engine, what we have entered, and the way the company is moving, or if we have moved, how much would the dependence on a single particular segment, let's say coal-based power plant, which used to be the largest revenue contributor to us, today what it would be, and the way the order book is getting built, what would be our exposure to that segment, and what would be to new segments like something like windmills, railways, what we have tried. So can you give some idea on how the order book is broken up today?
So I'll answer this question partially, and my colleague Vinay Hegde, the head of global sales and marketing, will address the question on the buoyancy of the markets and what he's also seeing. So approximately about 25% of our business is steam turbines, and then we have hydro, which is about 15%, and then we have the engine business, which is about 15%, and then we have
gas engine,
diesel engine.
Traction.
We have traction, which is about 16%. So you can see that we're not overly dependent on any single sector. When we say steam turbine, it means basically captive power plants, which will be running for the primary power generation for the industry. There is waste heat recovery, there is sugar cogeneration, there's garbage burning plants. So approximately you can say the mix in the steam turbine business as we see it is something like 50% export, 50% domestic. The domestic side will be something like 50% will be based on coal, 50% will be based on renewable, export business, about 80% will be renewable and 20% will be using traditional fuels. So large proportion of the steam turbine business is also heading towards the renewable, sustainable segment. So that's why we see a trend that there's an increase and more businesses coming this way. So it's difficult. So these percentages vary year to year. Okay, so I'm not going to say that it's fixed. It varies. So sometimes some sectors go up, sometimes some sectors go down. But overall, our goal has always been, for the past 5 to 6 years, to diversify the business into as many segments as possible with related products, so that we can not only grow, but we can also compensate the drop in one segment versus the increases in some other segment. So this is, in principle, our strategy of our company. Now, regarding the buoyancy of the markets, I'll hand over the mic to Mr. Vinay Hegde.
Yeah, good morning. Mainly, the Indian steam turbine market is growing significantly. This is coming from mainly from the steel plants, cement plants, sugar plants, and distilleries. There are a lot of distillery plants coming up because of the demand for the ethanol, and there are number of waste to energy projects, which is garbage burning plants. The detailed project reports are being done, and there is a huge pipeline of such projects. So I think this is going to continue, and the significant increase this year, what we are seeing, is coming from the steam turbine segment and the gas engine segment.
And globally also, or export order, can you tell what would be the sectors which are doing well? And add to that, see, we had some of the large global players on the BTG side who were going away from some of the smaller segments and again coal-based generation plants and everything. So do you think your competitive position today is much better than, let's say, what it was in 2012-13, and especially in Europe, where I think some of the larger players stopped that business or have defocused from that business? So can you elaborate on your competitive position and where the demand is strong in global market?
See, mainly, people are now shutting down the coal plants, and they're going for this gas-based power plants. So that is why we are seeing a huge increase in the gas engine business segment. And export business, what we sell the steam turbines, there may be less than 10% are going for the coal-fired power plants. Majority of them are for renewables.
And I'll just add to the competitive position. So basically, we have strengthened our position in all international markets, main international markets. We strengthened our position by being known as a quality manufacturer, and we are being approved across the board for most of the new projects. In some cases, we are still not, but I would say majority we are getting approved, and we are winning the orders. And the larger entrenched players are receding from this size up below 50 megawatt and opening up this, and because it's not possible for them to compete against people like us.
Okay.
And international market, what the acceptability issue was there a few years back, it is no more there now. So everywhere the acceptability is there for the TDPS brand.
Okay. Yeah, I'll join back in the queue. Best of luck for the future, and I hope the hard work will now really bear fruits for everyone in the company. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to the participants, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have any follow-up, may we request you to rejoin the queue. The next question is from the line of Bajrang Bafna from Sunidhi Securities. Please go ahead.
Congratulations for good setup.
Mr. Bafna, your voice is breaking up. May we request you to move to a better reception area, please?
Is it audible now?
Yes, sir.
So congratulations for good set of numbers. Just want to understand on the you guided that next year perhaps the margins are going to go towards the normalcy of 14-15% kind of range. But this year due to this especially the steel cycle, it will not be possible. But what sort of, revenue guidance that we could see next year? Because this year, perhaps you have guided that, things will be in the vicinity of 6.4 to 6.5 billion. So, considering the capacity that we are having right now, what sort of revenue that you would see next year, and maybe any CapEx which will be required, to augment the capacity considering the demand which is coming up in the system?
So we are saying that this year we'll do 6.5 to 6.6 billion. And okay, I will put a number right now, but we'll see. We'll do at least between 7.25 and 7.5 billion next year. That's the initial guidance I'm giving, and it could, if we know all the things that we are doing, I really expect it to be much better. But I will give you a revised guidance, as time goes by. It's really early for us to give a very firm guidance for next year. As I said, because order booking is just starting for next year. But the flows are very good. The flows are very heavy in flows, and all the new potential areas where we have developed the customers of the past few years, those are really opening up, and we're seeing increased flows from those new areas. Plus, in addition, there are new areas which we are just tapping into, so those also will contribute. So, very conservatively, I'm giving a guidance of about 7.25 to 7.5 billion rupees for next year, and then let's see. I'll be happy to upgrade this guidance as time goes by. No big capex, and as I said, we are investing about 10 to 15 crores a year. Every year we're investing in productivity, in automation, in upgrading our plant to keep it at a state-of-the-art level, and that will continue to be our focus to keep debottlenecking the plants through automation, productivity improvements, but and to really get the benefit of this higher sales volume with approximately the same fixed cost. That is our clear goal. We can push this capacity. At the moment, we are saying that we can take it to 900 crores, even 1,000 crores. Let's see how it goes.
Okay, and any further increase in steel prices or maybe other raw material prices? Now the orders that you're taking that are having complete pass through, or we might again see the kind of volatility that we have seen this year can further derail our margin trajectory which we are hoping for.
So we have very clear agreements where there will be a pass through of raw material. If the raw material prices go up further, then we will talk. But at the moment, we have booked a lot of material at the current prices to secure some predictability in the margin profile, and with all the new prices which are, as I said in my opening speech, we have a certain fixed number of machines which have been agreed with all our major customers, where it will either be small number, we will take the full cost, most of the rest will be shared basis, and then after this fixed number of machines, it will be complete pass through of the raw material cost. So basically, all the new orders from approximately now are going to be with the new price, plus minus a few weeks here and there. But yeah, for raw material price future trends, I don't know. Whatever it may be, we're not worried, because if the prices go up, then we'll again have another pass through.
Got it, sir. Got it. Thank you very much, and all the best, sir, for the future growth prospects.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhwanil Desai from Turtle Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, Nikhil and team. Congratulations for a very strong performance, and outlook also is looking good. So, Nikhil, I've been following our company and invested in it for a long time. I have never seen you such a strong commentary from your side. So, so wanted to understand that, hello. Yeah. So wanted to understand what is actually, has changed so drastically in last 3, 4, 5 months, where, suddenly our guidance is revised upward. Even on that base, we are expecting growth in FY23. Can you Can you elaborate on that?
I guess it's all the things we've been doing, struggling to do over the past 5 years. Is everything is just coming together, one by one, and this was what we all expected to happen, but it was not happening, and then now it's happening. And there was always a potential to grow certain businesses to a certain size, and we were moving slowly towards that potential. But suddenly, some things have opened up, like, for example, this gas engine business. It's now going to be 100 crores plus for us this year. And it's going to continue like this. Maybe it's going to grow with the second engine customer. It's going to grow. So this is 100 crores with the existing customer. And we have another one which is growing. And so far, things are going well. And, so the potential with the second one is also 100 crores. Suddenly it may just pick up, and then we'll see this 50, 60, 70 crores of additional business coming from this one person. So this is the kind of thing that, we have been, I guess, dreaming in the past, and now it's coming true.
Okay. So, but a significant part of this upward revision is because of the export market, right? Not because of the domestic
also. And as Vinay said a little bit earlier, he can just tell.
Yeah, there is a significant increase in demand in the domestic market, and especially, as I said, heat recovery from steel plants and sugar plants. Mainly, there are a lot of distilleries coming because there is a huge demand for ethanol, and there are many projects for waste to energy, which is coming from the garbage burning plants, and now they have a plan for putting up a plant in every district. So this demand is going to continue, and this is not a bubble anymore. So whatever we were expecting the Indian market to grow, and it has started now, and there is a huge demand for the small power plants below 20 megawatt.
Okay, got it. Second question, Nikhil, I think you indicated in your opening remarks about kind of railway, the existing business. There is a potential to go up, and even some newer areas with the same customer. So can you elaborate on that?
The existing contract is around 1,000 locomotives with the existing customer, and Indian Railways is negotiating with the customer for an increase of this 1,000 to another number. Okay, I don't want to tell you what it is, but in another number, larger number. So that's under negotiation. Indian Railways will definitely buy more electric locomotives. The product which our customer has made has been extremely well received, and with the completion of this railway freight corridor also, it's the utilization of this locomotive is at a very, very high level. Second major area which we're expecting the business from this customer is these high-speed private railway tenders which the Indian Railways has floated. I think the tenders are closed in July, and soon we will know which are the private operators who have won some of those bids, and then they will have to start ordering their locomotives to run on those tracks, because there will be a fixed period in which they have to get operational. And this particular customer of ours is probably the only one who can make these high-speed trains in India. So, or even if they lose some business, they'll get a majority of the business.
And they've also taken over Bombardier.
And they've also taken over Bombardier, and they're very well placed, and we are very well placed in this whole supply chain. So yeah, it's another big area where we are expecting the expansion of business to take place. It will take a little bit of time, but as I said, we have positioned ourselves well in this system.
Okay, got it. And last question, Nikhil. So the copper prices have been going up and up. But how will it have an impact if it starts going down in terms of the materials we have booked, the negotiations that we have done with our clients? How does it work?
Look, there's going to be a fairness in this whole system moving forward. That's all I can say at this point of time, right? So we have taken a certain hit, and we have been fair, and now if things start going the other way, I'm sure our customers will be fair. and we're going to play this game with a fair spirit, okay? And our customers also will play. We are long-term. We have long-term relationships. Everything will be done with a spirit of fairness from both sides.
Understood. Thanks a lot, and all the best. Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chintan Sheth from Samiksha Capital. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. You mentioned on the existing capacity can be scaled up to 900 to 1,000 crore revenue without any major capex. But the commentary from what we are, from the initial commentary, it seems we'll run out of that capacity also from 3 years from now, given the guidance we are giving for the next year at 720 being conservative. So any plans to further scale up the capacities, say in next couple of years, in terms of larger capex, given the opportunity you are seeing right now?
We'll start thinking about it next year is all I can say. We are already thinking about it, but we'll start acting on it, next year. So it's not difficult to put up new capacity. So we have money, we know how to do it. We'll give it another 12 months, and then we'll give you more concrete answers on this question. Putting up capacity is the easiest thing, but once you put it up, you got to be sure you're going to fill it up.
Yeah, understand that. And in terms of pricing, you did mention that for this year it's been negotiated, and we kind of take a bit of hit. But from next year onwards, we'll see passing on or get the full benefit of the price increases this year. So going forward, is the agreements are in place? You did mention about it, but you also mentioned that you have to go back to the customer and negotiate. But are we secured of agreements with our customer to at least pass on a very significant sharp rises in the prices? How should we look at, and we won't face the similar situation which we are facing right now?
We have clear agreements of further price rises, further price reductions. Everything is fairly clear.
Okay. Sure. I think that answers my question. I'll jump back into further. Thank you, and all the very best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohit Balakrishnan from iThought PMS. Please go ahead.
Hello, am I audible?
Hi Rohit, yes, how are you?
Hi Nikhil, how are you? Congratulations, and very heartening to see your very bullish commentary. Congrats to all the team and your hard work.
Thank you, Rohit.
So Nikhil, just a couple of questions. So one, wanted to just get a view from you. So in the last con call, you were talking about some specific opportunities in terms of capex. So just wanted to get a sense, is there something that you have formed up? That was one. And the larger question being, so we have close to 200 crores of cash, and given what we are saying for this year and next year, there would be a significant accrual in terms of cash. So just want to get your view. How are you thinking about deployment of cash? Is there a buyback that you're thinking about, or anything else? So that was the first question. Hello?
Mr. Rohit, requested to please stay connected. Requesting all the participants to please stay connected. We are reconnecting the management. Ladies and gentlemen, the line for the management is reconnected. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Sorry, Rohit, you were saying about the new products. You can just maybe start the question from the beginning.
Sure. No, Nikhil, so what I wanted to understand is, you had talked about a certain opportunity where you were thinking of doing some CapEx. I wanted to just get a sense from you, an update. My larger question actually was around, like we have about 200 crores of cash, and given what we are saying in this year and next year, hopefully it should be very good from a cash accrual point of view also. So just wanted your sense about how you are thinking of deploying this cash. Are you thinking of buying back or dividend or anything else? Just getting your view.
We are focusing on using all our resources to fund the growth. And, this kind of growth will need significant amounts of working capital. And as I said, some CapEx also, not major CapEx, but 10-15 crores with CapEx will be required. So all put together, I think we'll be consuming much of the earnings in just funding the growth. So this is the strategy at least for the next 1 year to fund the growth. And then we will see after that.
Okay. Fair enough. Nikhil, just, so this year you're saying close to 740 crores at a consolidated level, right?
Manufacturing, 7.5 billion rupees, yes, all put together, 7.5, 7.6.
So, and you've also sort of given a initial mark for the next year. And this would be, again, you are assuming Turkey to be almost negligible, right, next year?
Yeah, that most of the revenues will come from TDPS India from the manufacturing side. Probably Turkey could just be, I think, around 1 to 2 million euros.
Got it. So, that's again commendable on your part to be able to fill up that kind of a big gap. So, I remember in one of the con calls a few quarters back, you mentioned that if we sort of get to 180, 200 crores kind of a run rate on India, then we can do 15% margins. Now, given there's been some changes, I'm again not saying this year. I'm cognizant of what you mentioned in the opening remarks, but I'm saying next year, and along with like commodity prices going up, do you think that we can probably and also on the other side, you said you've been investing a lot on automation and stuff. So can we talk EBITDA margins if we do 180, 200 crores of quarterly numbers, let's say few quarters down the line?
Rohit, you guys, all the guys on this call are all, great in calculating results. So I've given the indication on the gross margins, top line, and the fixed costs are not going to go up that high. So, yeah, it's possible, definitely.
Okay, and this last question, if you said about a large synchronous order, I missed that part. If you can repeat that?
This is a synchronous motor is basically constructionally almost identical to a generator, but it's used a lot in industry where you need to have large pumps or large compressors or large equipment that need to be driven with a constant speed and very, very good speed control. So this is but constructionally the machine is exactly identical to a generator. So this logically been a very good segment for us to get into because from the manufacturing point of view it's exactly the same as a generator, but a lot of design capability had been built in, and we have done that. We got the first order, and it's a large market, and this is what I'm talking about. The 200 crores is only domestic. If I talk about the international market, it is, I don't know, it's huge. It's really, really big. So we'll grow, we'll first put in a few machines over here in the domestic market, and we'll try to get a good share, and then we can also grow this business internationally. So I'm very upbeat about this product line, and there are more coming up, and we will talk about it as we get orders from certain segments. We'll talk about it, and we'll talk about the market potential when we actually realize success in the market.
Sure. So just one follow-up on this. So this is a 18 crore machine that you just
No, it's
you said?
six machines of around 3 crores per machine.
Yeah, so 18 crore order. Sorry. And this is for which industry, Nikhil? Which industry?
This is going to be used in a large pumping station.
Okay. Got it. I think I'm pretty much through my questions. Thank you very much, Nikhil. I'll come back if I have more.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have any follow-up, may be requested to rejoin the queue. The next question is from the line of Aditya Shah from Vibrant Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My first question is on the gross margin. For this year, Nikhil, you have guided broadly for 28% gross margin, and due to that, the profit may not go up significantly in the current year, basically. Is my understanding correct?
Yes.
Got it. My second question is on the gross margin. Next year, you're guiding for 32%, which we basically did in FY21. So we'll revert to that kind of margin profile. My question is that when we are deciding the pricing for a product, so is 32% the number wherein we will stabilize, or this business inherently has the potential to increase the pricing and potentially move the gross margin profile higher than 32%?
That's a really hard question to answer in a simple way. It's a mix of, this 32% is a mix of a large number of different things that we do. And certain segments are more profitable and certain segments are not as profitable. But overall, the business is generating this. We are trying and we are putting a lot of effort to see how to increase the aftermarket business. And part of it's a big push from our side to increase the aftermarket business, and there's a lot of potential in this area. We'll talk about it more hopefully next time, because we are very close to winning some orders, and then we will talk about this a little bit more next time. That kind of business will improve the overall gross contribution for the company in a significant way. The new product business is always competitive, and we got to remain competitive in this business. Our OEM customers also are demanding. They demand competitive prices. So it's hard for us to push this significantly. Let me just put it that way. Here and there, yeah, but significantly, it's hard.
Got it. I think that's very fair. In terms of aftermarket, I want to understand right now, do we have any kind of revenues in aftermarket? And number two is,
as I said, it's a push from our side. When we win some orders, we will definitely inform the market. But I'm upbeat about it because we have some really good potential sectors that we're going after, and we have been working on this for the past 7-8 months. We're close to winning something. When we win, it's not going to be some small stuff. We'll win. We'll talk about it. Next, probably.
Yeah, sure, Nikhil.
Next call.
Sure, Nikhil. Sure.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Manoj Dua, an investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, Nikhil. Congratulations on your upbeat guidance and the efforts you have put on last 4 or 5 years, maybe more than that, to become fruitful. I'm so glad for that.
Thank you, Manoj.
So, my first question is regarding, we have a Navy shipment in Q1. It was delivered in Q1 or it is in Q2?
No, that has been shipped. So in this Q1.
Okay. And my second question is that we have taken some hit on the margins for our OEMs. So do you think this kind of what we have done, sacrifice in terms of margin, will cement our relationship in future, and we can increase our positioning with these clients, and this kind of thing will be taken as now more cementing our relationship with our new clients?
Yeah, it is basically, with these clients, what we are talking about, where we have the rate contract, We have a 20-year-old relationship, and we have 100% market share with them. And if they grow, automatically we grow. This is, this is to keep their business intact and not losing the market share. These kind of things we have to do in this kind of business because we have limited number of customers.
Okay. Thank you and best of luck.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Himanshu Upadhyay from PGIM Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Nikhil, I had a question on this Turkey facility where you said that we may reduce the capacity or we may have to bring down the thing. And in last year you also said that there are forex issues in that country. How easy is to get back our money what we have invested? And what is the value of investment plus cash in Turkey geography as of now?
Yeah, so in Turkey we have not put in much of investments. It could be around 3 to 4 crores, that's it.
And the cash we are able to get back, means the profits what we generate.
Yeah, that we will have to call back as dividend or something. We will have to do that.
See, we had 21 crores last year as the earnings. We are expecting, as I said, this year around 80 crore and 10% PBT, so we may have about 6-7 crores coming in net, so totally about 27-28 crores. We can bring it back. It's all repackable. We can bring it back.
Okay.
But we just want to wait and see whether the Turkish market opens up again or not before we bring it back.
Okay, just a thought here. When the market goes back, the money also becomes difficult to get out of that country. This is what we have seen in many geographies. Okay, in good times, getting money is easier than in tough times.
Yeah, but you pay huge tax, right? So let's see. So let's see.
Okay. And we said that we have brought some senior person for the rotating machines. Okay. Are we just focusing on those motors business, or you are thinking are there any other adjacencies where you are working on? Okay.
Now I said electrical rotating machines. That's the specific word I used. Generator is also an electrical rotating machine. So Kaushik has come from our competitor. He's got 35 years in electrical rotating machines is what I said. So he's come from the motor background, generator background, and so we are going after a number of niche products where the technical ability is high, where our high manufacturing capability can be utilized to get better pricing and supply technology products in this segment. We're not going after the mass market business where it's a commoditized and low margin business. We're not interested in that. But this is a huge market and there are a number of little niches. And with Kaushik's experience, we're trying to get into those niches and come up with products that can deliver the margin for the company, utilizing our technical ability.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sanjay Doshi from Nippon India Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, Nikhil and the team. Thank you, first of all. I mean, the kind of optimism that you are seeing, I think it appears like a fresh start for the company.
Thank you, Sanjay.
I have a couple of questions, sir, with your permission. One is, in the international market, if you can give us some better color about the preferences. I mean, where in terms of number of customers, say 3 or 4 years back, as a brand and as a supplier versus today. So that does give us some sense. And the next is on the new areas, like moving apart from a proper generator to say a railway opportunity or the synchronized motor that you have moved in, what kind of mapping you would have done on the market size and where you could cater to? So these are the first 2 questions, and I have one follow-up question here.
So we not added a significant number of new customers in the international market, Sanjay, but we have always talked about each of these customers having a large potential. So for us, the growth would have, for us, we've always been targeting, okay, what could be the market if we cut deep into these customers and get more and more market share from these customers. And, for example, like this gas engine manufacturer from Austria, I mean, they buy a large number of generators every year, and we always knew that there was a potential for us to get a very large business from them. So we have focused more on cutting deep within existing customers and to get more market share. And there are also just, there's a concentration of buying power in our business also with the turbine manufacturers or engine manufacturers, whether turbine from steam turbine or hydro turbine. So there are a few large guys, and it's more important, we thought, or more important for us to get larger market share from the big guys rather than have a very wide number of customers. So that's part of our strategy, which is now working. And the second question was regarding this, these motors and mapping, and yes, as I said, the synchronous motor market that we're addressing right now is around 200 crore. It's the purely domestic play. Internationally, it could be at least $1 billion. The railway business is also, it's huge. It's a massive business. I said earlier, the Indian Railways business is itself around 1,000 crores per year, and we hope to get around 7 to 10% of that business once we are fully approved. So 100 crore segments, you can say, would be, at the moment what we're looking at, with the potential to grow much larger. I guess that's what I can say at this point of time. I don't want to also get overly carried away by some of these things. We are aware that there's a lot of potential to grow, but all these things happen, as we have seen, step by step by step by step by step, and we're just going to take those steps one by one by one.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Just one follow-up, sir. You mentioned about capacities. I mean, I understand you can 100 crores plus within the current setup with a minimal capex. But on the and talent side, can you highlight what has been done to ensure that the company can scale up further? Just one last question on that. Thank you.
We have an incredible really incredible talent in our organization right now. We have a bunch of young, talented engineers, managers, male and female, who are coming up inside our organization and showing incredible capability. Right now, there's more talent than opportunity. That's where we are right now. So this is a unique situation for our company. And but we're putting this challenge into all the new opportunities. And at this moment, I would say that we are very, very well staffed. And by getting in experience somewhere, like for example, getting in Kaushik from outside, bringing in some people with decades of experience, also helps not only to open up new markets, but also give some guidance to the young talent on how to learn. And of course, the management team from TDPS, the founding members, all of us are there and guiding the young team, and we're in charge of everything right now. So I would say that we have a lot of depth right now in our management capability, a lot of depth.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we take that as the last question. I now hand the conference over to the management for their closing comments.
Thank you, everybody, for being with us on this conference call. If you have any further questions, please reach out to us, and we'll be happy to have further discussions with you. And we look forward to interacting with you at the end of H1. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of TD Power Systems Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.